and every year I somehow come back to Kyoto, and then there's one temple, one mountain I love. All right, so my name is Masa. I have been living in Australia for the last 20 years, and right now I'm in the process of going back to Japan, migrating back to Japan because I was born and raised in Japan. I even went to high school in US, and I even worked for the American company. So I know the both culture, like Japan and also Western culture. So anyway, I have been very fascinated by Japanese shrine and temple. It started 5 years ago, probably a little bit longer. Anyway, it just fascinated to me so much, and I'm keep on coming back. And especially I love Kyoto, and every year I somehow come back to Kyoto, and then there's one temple, one mountain I love, which is Mt.Kurama and also Kurama Temple. I just love that spot very much. And somehow in each year I just climb up the mountain, and there's so many shrines, and then I just visit each one of them. I think one is the definitely being out in the nature is amazing, because I have lived in Australia. I know what the nature is like. It's Australia it's all about nature. Nature is great, amazing. It's almost it's the south, very south. The weather is nice, and but the how to say this? It just the vibe is so different here. It's like Japan has 4 seasons, and Kyoto has got different vibe. It's got so much culture to it. And then whenever I go back to Mt.Kurama, Kurama Temple, I feel like I'm back home. It's like the mountain is very different, because I lived in Sydney in Japan, and Sydney there's no mountains just nearby, just surrounding suburbs. There's no mountains, but there's so much. That's Japan mountain is everywhere. It's just no matter where you go, there's mountain. And then I just love to see how different those mountains are. And then what I mean by that is the mountain in the Kyoto has got different vibe, and if you go to south, very south, Kyushu area, now the vibe is very different. And I've even went to Izumo. There's very famous major shrine, Izumo Shrine. Mountains around that area is very calm. It's very different. So each mountain has got very different vibe. And then I guess when I travel around, when I visit the Japanese shrines, temple, they're always the sitting on the top of the mountains, because it's been said that the mountain itself is a god, and because Japanese worship the mountain itself, the nature itself. I don't know, is that called aminism? They adore, they worship the nature. At least that's how it was back in 1,000 years ago. And then Japanese tradition still carries on it. So the mountain itself is got the godlike power. That's why they created Japanese temple and shrines on top of it. And then I just talked about Mt.Kurama. Mt.Kurama has got a certain energy and vibe, and then a temple is on it. So it's got a very specific power and vibe. I guess that's why whenever I go there, oh my god, I feel I'm back home, and I get very relaxed, or I guess that gives me a lot of power. Especially when I go to Mt.Kurama, I feel back home. It gives me a lot of energy. It just wakes me up. It's just very different for me. I think that's sort of that's, I don't know, a power spot or energy spot is very specific for each one of the people. But for me, Mt.Kurama is the one that gives me power. That's one thing. And then and what's interesting is when I visit very different mountains, Izumo is Shimane prefecture. There's Izumo shrine, it's supposed to be like very origin of the Japan, or the god and goddess myth started from there. And then so I went there last year. I looked around the scenery, I looked at the mountain, and I realized it's completely different from the mountains in Kyoto, because the mountain was so calm. It was like almost like very pure and neutral. And then I do meditate. So when I meditated just nearby like Izumo Shrine, oh my god, I felt very peaceful inside. I've never had that sort of experience when I did the meditation. It's like my mind is usually everywhere. But when I went to the like Izumo Shrine, that area, it was like very calm and peaceful. I actually even went to the very south. Like I took a bus, like 2 hours ride from the Izumo Shrine down to the south. It's like out of nowhere on the mountain area. There was like small, almost like a village. I think it's called Sada City, and then there was just like a very specific. It's all there was only like 2,000, like 3,000 people living in that area. Oh my god, that area was really amazing. That was like time capsule. It's like it preserved all the tradition that Japan has got. It's around. Have you heard of Shinto? Shinto is one of the like I guess religion that Japan has got. It's got long-standing history. So it's got a very famous shrine right in the center of the Sada city. Yeah, and the two of them. One is for the it's a Japanese god called Sano, and the other shrine is called Amaterasu. Yeah, and usually these two god, this is Sano or is a guy, and then Amaterasu is a lady, and usually these two don't get along each other, but in the Japanese myth they actually got along each other finally at the end. But usually these two don't get along each other, but in that village these shrines are sitting, how to say it, just sitting next to each other, I mean in front of each other, seriously. And it's only like 100 meters away, which is pretty rare. But anyway, the Japanese legends say this Susano god is supposed to be like a very wild god, but that's the place where he eventually decided to settle, because he's like very energetic, and he did all that kind of things to making stuff like upside down. But eventually he found this this village, and then supposedly he's now settled in that shrine. I'm talking about like 2,000 years old, like myth kind of thing, yeah. But there's I actually learned that there's actually like written like text, like text or something was found about that story. So it's pretty interesting. So anyway, what I was talking about. So anyway, I think so let me just get back to what I was talking about. I think one thing I want to say is that there are a lot of shrine and temples out there, but the vibe is like very different. And so if you travel Japan, and if you are interested in that sort of topic, and if you are sensitive enough to kind of feel it, then you eventually find a specific place. It could be like shrine or temple that fits to your vibe, seriously, and then you're gonna love it, and you feel like you wanna like keep on coming back, because that's what's happening with me. I go each year, I go back to like Mt.Kurama, seriously. I'm like going there like every other month, seriously. Yeah, so I love it. It just gives you energy, it gives you like the right vibe. And but it's it's quite individual. Some people loves Mt.Kurama, some people don't like it, and some people say, oh yeah, there's another mountain called the Hiei mountain. That one is more for the monk to actually just stay there and do their practice, and then they just they don't go outside. That they have that sort of very strict vibe, and it's been sitting there like more than 1,000 years. So some people like that, but I don't. So anyway, I don't know how many shrines out there. 1,000 shrines in Japan, and then there are so many god and goddess. I still need to study a bit, but depend on like people. Some people say, oh yeah, I like Susano, yeah, I like Amaterasu, I like so that sort of thing. So if you actually visit Japanese shrine, I'm sure you can find specific Japanese god, goddess, shrine, location that you resonate with, which is pretty interesting. Okay, so anyway, so I think just to wrap up, Japan is amazing. Okay, all right, thank you.